Good morning, everybody. Welcome, greetings, salutations. My name is Elaine Adams, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Stockhouse. Wow, Jesus Christ! And it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Stockhouse U Premarket Show. Now, what do we do during this show? Well, we do a lot of top-down analysis. I just tried to make something that prepares anybody to hop into the market on any given day. So we'll be talking about futures, indices, ETFs, individual stocks, news, our trades, both good and bad, and do I have some bad trades for you today, as well as trading psychology. We do not give out financial advice. We're just a group of friends who love to talk about the market and share our perspectives and views, and hopefully that helps you as well. If you want to talk or add something to the conversation, please raise your hand and hop up on stage. We're friendly and we cater to any level of person, to be honest. If you enjoy these talks, please click on the greenhouse at the top, ping some friends in. This is a community-based effort, and so we are only as strong as the community that supports us. I am joined by some of my favorite people, and Vanessa, Liv, Shivam, Christopher, Fly, Rel, thank you so much for joining me today. We normally like to start our day off with some quotes and just give people time to get into the room and do the thing. So I'll go first. Today's quote from me is by Jamie Dimon, and who's the CEO of JP Morgan. Jesus, I'm going to be all weird today. Who's the CEO of JP Morgan. And the quote goes like this: companies that grow for the sake of growth or that expand into areas outside their core business strategy often stumble. On the other hand, companies that build scale for the benefit of their customers and shareholders more often succeed over time. I do affirmations every day to start the market off. And the last thing I say in all of these affirmations is I'm grateful for the opportunity to create generational wealth, not for me, but for the people around me that I love and care about. And it's really, really important for me to remember why I do this and what the money's for and what the business and what the long hours are for. It's so that I can support other people. It's not for myself. When I make these trades, when I look at these companies, it's not to feed my own ego. It doesn't matter about me. Whether I'm right or wrong isn't important. I like to make money so that I can support others. And that's what gives me the drive to keep on going. And as it turns out, businesses that think about their bottom line, who they're actually trying to serve, do better as well. Anyways, that's my quote. Vanessa, good morning. Do you have a quote for us today?
Good morning, everyone. I do. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but rising every time we fall. Um, and, my girl Aaliyah always said, if at first you don't succeed, brush yourself off and try again. So that's it. Self explanatory. My name's Vanessa. I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Good morning, Liv. How are you feeling today? Do you have a quote for us?
Good morning. I got one off the top of my head. The losses that you make are really more profitable than the success you have without knowing what mistakes you make. I'm going with that because I have lost money, but I like to look at my losses as just a free lesson on how to make more money in the future, because as long as you fix your mistake, you can't make it again.
Valid. It is a learning opportunity. Shivam, good morning. Do you have a quote for us today?
Good morning, Elaine. So I'll see your Jamie Dimon and I'll raise you a Warren Buffett.
Yes.
Beware the beware the investment activity that produces applause. The great moves are usually greeted by yawns.
True that. Nobody wants to talk dividends until they want to talk dividends. Christopher, good morning. Do you have a quote for us today?
Good morning. I definitely do. And I'm going to Winston Churchill today. Courage is the first of human qualities because it's the quality which guarantees all others.
Oh, shit. You out here being courageous with your stock plays, Christopher?
Um, you know, don't start none, won't be none. But yeah, I'm definitely getting out there today. So scared money don't make no money.
Ooh, it is a shaky day in the stock market, and I'm ready to talk futures right now. I know Zev's here to talk futures. Zev, you don't want to do quotes. Fly, good morning, man. We've missed you. It's nice to see you on stage again. How are you feeling?
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're all right, man. And yourself?
All right. All right. My quote is make your mental health your top priority. Nothing else matters if you're not happy.
Absolutely. I agree with that entirely. Ro, good morning, man. How you feeling today?
What's up, guys? I'm feeling great. I got some by Stephen Covey. The key is not to prioritize what's on the schedule, but to schedule your priorities.
Yeah, my priorities are to listen to Janet Yellen and Jay Powell today, followed by I really need to know about these oil stocks, the oil changeover. Anyways, Zeb, good morning, man. How you feeling today?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Thanks to Google, I actually do have a quote from Wayne Dyer. If all you do is follow the herd, you'll just be stepping in poop all day. And I think I think that definitely applies to investing. Um, you're not gonna generate outsized returns just doing what everyone else is doing. Um, and I think that that's something people should definitely be thinking about as you debate whether or not to play the rotation game that we've seen the past few weeks where they were telling you, tech is dead by the cyclicals and stuff like that. That was the herd mentality. Going against that mentality, was the ability to say, well, tech probably isn't dead and it probably is the future, and going in search of those names that are still going to be here with us long after the pandemic. And if anything, just saw an acceleration.
Yeah, I was listening to somebody who said like the kind of the same thing, you just can't have an edge trading with the crowd, regardless. And so many people kind of look to these major news outlets or these major sources for like, the information that's supposed to get them ahead. And it is a tricky thing trying to balance that. On the flip side, I feel like I'm always like, I don't have any specific news, but I've been coming in here talking about like, are the renewed lockdowns and COVID variants going to start to affect the market? And it took a week, but the news cycle's catching up to me. They're concerned finally. How did they actually approve the AstraZeneca shot? Okay, sorry, that's news. Hey Taylor, good morning, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I kind of popped in a little late, but I heard you guys talking about quotes and every one of my emails. I don't know if it's necessarily stock related, but for the new people, my favorite quote was by Confucius, and it's those who say they can and those who say they can't are both usually right.
Ooh. The power of mental limitations on yourself. All right, y'all. That's a great quote to start off to the day. Taylor, I'm gonna give it to you. I think that's a victory over there. Let's talk about the futures. So I think the big story here, well, there's a couple of big stories. But number one, I want to look at the NASDAQ. And here we are sitting at this. Okay, so yesterday we closed at 13,000. 13,071, and right now we sit at 13,078. Barely any change. Now, right here, we are approaching our 50-day moving average, which I expect to be a potential point of resistance. That 50-day moving average sits at 13,181. The last two times that we've sort of touched and played around with this, we've taken a fairly large pullback. On the 18th, which was about a week ago, we sat there at 13,200 and we took a dip all the way back to 12,700. And I posted this chart on Instagram and Twitter if anybody's looking and wants to kind of see exactly what I'm looking at as well. And it's happened again. It happened again on March 3rd, right? And then before that, we sort of were trading inside of this range in the first place. And that range sits from 13,400 down to the bottom side at 12,800. So here we are right in the middle, sitting at 13,081. We could absolutely have a little bit of momentum and hit this 13,400 level and then take a pullback. But if I'm thinking about how the news is right now, if I'm thinking about the fact that, yeah, for sure, the NASDAQ's in the green today, but the Russell, the S&P 500, Bitcoin, and on top of that, we have a fairly high spike in volatility for the day. I don't know that I have the confidence to assume that we're going to continue this green day accordingly. So with that said, I'm going to be paying a ton of attention. I mean, in the very near future at this 13,170 level, to see if we really go ahead and hold that momentum and break over this resistance, or if we get rejected. And I'm personally expecting a rejection right now. And if we do take a rejection, the level that I'm looking at is this 12,700 level. I expect us to kind of settle down here, and form a little bit of a support. And so really this overall story is the story of A, consolidation, B, market trepidation, where people are not as exuberant as they would be just to hop in stocks and hold on to them. And we are hearing the storyline of the argument between value and tech and value and growth, and it's playing out just as anybody would expect, with a healthy dose of fear, with a healthy dose of news catalysts such as J Powell being dovish for the rest of his career, um, uh, with banks concerned about the SLR ratios and whatever else, right? And I think that a lot of this news is going to break out and be just fine. To be honest, I think that we are on the progression to having a stronger economy, to giving things the backing that they need to progress. But with that said, today I feel some hesitation and I see some major resistance points right ahead of us. Moving on over to the S&P 500, sort of a similar story, at a different place in the chart, however. So let's see here. Sorry, I'm zooming in and moving stuff around. Okay, so the S&P, I have sort of a resistance area around the 3,900 level. And let's see here. Yesterday we closed at 39.30. We're opening up at 39.18. So a little bit of a pullback. And this 39.30 level is where my resistance is. I expected a pullback in this region, and moving past that would put us directly into all-time high territory. And over 397, I believe, was our real previous all-time high. 398, 3981 would be our last all-time high, and I don't expect us to get that without some sort of level of catalyst or something that kind of makes gives people the assurance. We did have a great day for large cap tech, and just large cap in general yesterday. And the question is, are we going to continue to see Apple, Microsoft, Google, all of these things run, or are we going to see a little bit of pullback on them as well? So right now, right, we sit at 39.18. My low for this particular area, and to just to stay inside of this consolidation trend, would be 38.65. And then below that, we could experience a little bit of a larger volatility. I mean, the lowest that we've been in recent history, it's on the 4th of March, was 37.24, right? So there is room, and I'm not afraid of volatility. I don't think that's not on our menu potentially. It's just there are levels, right? I'm not trying to predict the future. I don't think things are going to go up or down majorly. We have the levels that it's hit. There has been a previous support at this 38.62 level. So the question is, are we going to hold that or continue to trend downwards after we do this rejection? Or alternatively, are we going to continue to power up and move towards all-time highs? But trading at all-time highs requires some thought process. It's not the same thing as trading in the middle of the chart. And then last but not least, the Russell, dear old Russell, which has been this bastion of security. And we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days that are trending down so far. I've talked about the 2,200 to 2,300 level so much that I don't even have to look at a chart to tell you that those are the upper and lower bounds of where I expect the Russell's price to settle, and where we have been trading since February. So once again, we closed yesterday at 2,261. Right now we're sitting at 2,239, down a little bit. And I expect us to kind of come down and retest this 2,200 level before I see a little bit of a pullback up. We're sitting right above our 100-day moving average, so that may form a little bit of a support for us. But we just need to see and wait it out, right? Small cap hasn't been the place that I've been seeing a lot of momentum recently. And it's okay, because small cap has been carrying us. There have been so many times when small cap was the only index that was really doing anything. So right now, when we're seeing all this movement in the S&P and NASDAQ, I think that it's perfectly fine for some of the energy to move out here. We can have a little bit of room to run. When I see the Russell sitting at 2,200, now I'm looking for the upside because it's there. And anybody else looking at NASDAQ futures with me? Or are we going to let Chris talk about oil? Because I want to hear, Christopher. All right, Chris, take it away.
Okay, so first things first, we've got some things going on in India, right? and that's affecting the price. We also got some extended lockdowns in Germany. So yesterday we talked about how it was breaking below and going to hold, try to see if it was going to hold over that $59 range, and if it broke below that, we were going to be headed towards 58.64, and then potentially test the February low, which was it could go as low as 52.18 before we actually see some solid support. Now that being said, yeah, that's crude oil. Sorry. Now we'll move over to Brent. Of course, it's also down as well. There are a lot of predictions here having this going to be trading in the range between 60 and 65 for a little while. I tend to agree. I don't really see any further thing devastating the market as far as, where it's already going now, which we already talked about it being in this consolidation range. And so, yeah, like I said, I see it if it breaks below 59 going to this 58.64 just for today. But yeah, I'm open to other opinions on that.
Yeah, I was just looking at the American Petroleum Institute, who kind of puts out, numbers on a weekly basis, basically talking about oil stocks, and specifically the amount of oil that has been drilled compared to the previous month. And if we look at what's happened over the past, 2 or 3 months, we've seen a drastic increase. And so, of course, that's gonna, oil is just this beautiful balance of supply and demand, and we've upped the supply while the demand has stayed stagnant, and maybe even tending towards the potential for the downside, as we see some areas that we expected to have more movement, such as international travel, such as, vacations and stuff like that. And then the first thing I see in Florida is people instituting a curfew. Right. So it seems like we have this sort of disjointed reopening process going on, and that's going to affect the demand for, on the industrial side for oil, and what we're going to be looking at. And that combined with the idea that seriously, they have been drilling. The increase has been fairly drastic. Um, and yeah, sorry, has been fairly drastic. I think that is going to have a direct correlation to the price, especially of some of our mid to smaller cap companies, which, really, although the price of oil, as long as it's over $44, they will be profitable. These things have taken on a lot of debt, and them increasing their dividend rates and paying back on the loans is an important thing to be able to consider these stocks as, value plays in the future. So I'm with you on the take. Anybody else looking at oil with us?
I'd also, oh, sorry. I'd also just add to keep in mind, when oil gets, when it's strong and it's moving higher, you're also, you have to be concerned with OPEC plus, like OPEC, and then you have Russia and a few others that aren't technically OPEC, but they're in the meetings. They can, they'll often say that they're agreeing to supply cuts and stuff like that. And until now, well, recently they have been compliant with those cuts. I think the Saudis have even agreed to, like, they've gone above and beyond and taken like an additional 1 million barrels a day off the mark, out of production, out of the market on the supply side. But as the economy reopens, and if prices move higher with the economy reopening, you do have to keep in mind OPEC does not have a good history of compliance. They do operate as a cartel, but it is kind of every country for themselves. A lot of countries in OPEC have issues with one another far beyond oil. So, they work together, but they're not exactly allies, beyond maybe, working on the oil price. So just keep in mind, when oil is going up, everyone likes to get really bullish on the prices and everything, but you do have to keep in mind that OPEC is something of a wild card, and they just don't, they don't stick to their compliance. So when oil's going up, a lack of compliance acts as something as a cap on prices, because, they just start to pump more, figuring while the price is up, let's get as much money as we can out of this. And these countries, they know, like, peak demand is on the horizon. That's why you have the Saudi Vision 2030 plan. They're trying to get their money out of it as much as they can while they can. So you do have to keep that in mind also when thinking about sort of what the upper limit on oil prices is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't have even the time necessarily to get into it, but like I've wondered and kind of been doing my homework on, like, why does the US have such an amazing military presence all over the world, right? And in where is it actually located? And like some of these canals and specific places that we have people stationed, they're trade routes. It's like a lot of the stuff is posturing so that we can monitor or add friendship to the movement of supplies, very specifically oil, around the world. And so there are so many things that will affect the price, that will affect demand, that will affect supply, and also the tentative agreement that we have with OPEC, also shale on the other side, on the American side. It really all does come together in this kind of beautiful tapestry, but it's complex, and really does contain a lot of political factors outside of just the pure drilling. So great point, Sev. Real quick before we continue, because boy, I want to talk about my trash trades. Also, just looking at like materials real quick, copper, which has been just on a complete tear, specifically in the past, in early February, we just saw copper just go straight to the moon. And we've been seeing a little bit of a consolidation phase. I just think that that's particularly interesting since copper sitting at $4 while the average, price for copper historically was somewhere around 280. It is sort of a big deal. And I'm wondering if we're going to see a consolidation and a continue on that side, specifically for its uses, or if we'll take a little bit of a pullback. Same thing with silver, trading in range, but consolidating down for the day, and down from last night. I don't know. It's just important for me to think about the cyclicals when I'm into it. And then last but not least, looking at gold, which has been in a bear market for a little while now. And yeah, we're still continuing to kind of trend down. I think we may have found some support near this little 1,630 region, but we shall see as the story continues. And I think the big story of gold as a store of value versus crypto is an interesting one, and kind of says a lot about money management and kind of that overall thought process as to where we're going into the future. Gold has just been this historic store of value that everybody knows. Your grandparents were telling you, hey, buy gold, just keep it in something, hold on to it. And as we look at the gold prices, there's a potential for that paradigm to change. So with that said, I kind of want to move on to the next segment.
Can I add real quick?
Go for it, Vanessa.
Elaine and Chris both referenced previous conversations on the morning show. And for anybody that's new here, we do upload the show to YouTube. So if you're not already following us on YouTube, go ahead, like, subscribe, or if you find the information valuable and you have a friend that's not on Clubhouse, send them over to YouTube and they can catch the show. But the previous conversations are up there if you guys are wondering what they're talking about.
Thank you for that. Anybody else have anything to add before we move on to our next segment?
I was just going to say you did reference Bitcoin being down, and that, Bitcoin's arch nemesis, Janet Yellen, is about to speak. So I think that has a little something to do with it.
Oh, for sure. Don't just say Janet Yellen. I mean, Jay Powell's comments yesterday about...
Oh, yeah, he beat it up too, but
yeah,
Janet Yellen's going to come in like off the top rope as well.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Wait.
They're going to double team it.
Did he beat it up? Did he beat it up?
I mean, he
didn't
say anything that suggests that made me feel bullish about it. He said it's not, it's not good enough for him. Basically, is what he was talking about.
He said it's too volatile to be a store of value.
Right. He said it's more like gold than the U.S. dollar.
That's bullish. If he says it's like the U.S. dollar, that means he's concerned about it. He's going to regulate the shit out of it. He says it's more like gold, then he's not as concerned about it. He doesn't see it competing with the U.S. dollar. I thought that was sort of, if he's not worrying about it, then near-term regulation is somewhat less concerning. And if he's just going to say, it sounds like they're just going to just leave it to do its own thing for the time being, at least. If he would have said, concerned about competing with the U.S. dollar, that I think would have been a massive issue, because they're not going to let anything compete. They're just not. I also think, I see it more as not to get into Bitcoin too much, but I see it more as the digital gold argument. The IRS tax code is you are not going to transact in Bitcoin unless you don't understand how the taxes work. But the way it is now, it is not replacing the US dollar. You're not transacting in Bitcoin. I don't know if people realize this. When you buy something with Bitcoin, that's the same as selling it for tax purposes. So if you bought Bitcoin and it's up 500%, and then you go buy a candy bar with your Bitcoin, that's like selling it. You owe taxes on that 500% gain. So that candy bar is going to cost you a shit ton more than you think. Um, so like until that changes, like the idea that it's going to become some type of currency that we're buying things with is ridiculous. Like it's not.
But that's the point, Zev, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, I don't think anybody can argue about the potential for digital gold and what the possible use case is. But I think a lot of the maximalists and the people who are really adopting this are looking for a digital currency or looking for this digital transaction and adoption on that level. And that's what they're not going to get. I think all the people who are kind of like, middle ground to not really worried about what the whole ecosystem is looking like you or me, who are using it as a store of value, some potential gains, an appreciating asset. There you go. I don't think he cares about that either. But the bigger picture on this thing is something that's going to have, very large ramifications on the
I
way
don't
that we
think the
conduct.
Bitcoin maximalists are taking it higher. Like they've been in it. That's not the big money. The real money is not from the Bitcoin maximalists. It's from the institutions coming in. It's from if the S&P 500 companies want to put it on their balance sheet. Like I feel like too much gets made of like the Bitcoin maximalists and their influence. Like those people have been owning it. They owned it in 2015, 16. They've owned it this whole way through. Like that's not where the new money's coming from. The new money is coming from the banks, the institutions, the companies putting something on their balance sheet. Like, so I don't know.
But I mean, with JPOW not being really, I mean, I still think giving it capital gains tax, what large company is going to buy a couple $1 billion worth of Bitcoin?
Hey, Elaine.
Hey, Liv.
Let's not get distracted. I love the both of you, but we should continue and speak about this later.
All right. Well, I'll end it with one last question, Zev, which can be a one-word answer. What would you call Elon? Is he a visionary, a Bitcoin maximist, or just somebody who is furthering the adoption on an institutional level?
Troll.
Yeah, he's a troll visionary. He's not a maximalist. Come on, he's not.
All right, fair enough. We'll continue this conversation. Hey, you guys, we are going to have a crypto versus equity conversation on Friday if you want to hop in this and really get there. But you're right, Liv, we don't have time. You know what it's time for? It's time for this. Wow, Christopher, where were you? Where were you, bro?
Sorry. Anyway, it's sorry guys. It's top trash trades. You know how it goes. If you guys were, maybe jumping in and bought the dip and maybe it wasn't done dipping. I know a lot of tech stocks were involved with that. Bitcoin stocks were also involved with that. Or also, maybe if you didn't jump into something and you're really beating yourself up about it, I've got a couple of them that I'm ready to yell off as far as trash trades. But I know, Elaine, you wanted to start. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elaine Adams, and I took a big fucking L on Tesla yesterday. I got really excited. Everybody comes up and always talks about how, I've been having some really good days, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're here to talk about me getting way too excited about me, the person who looks at what Cathie Wood says and takes it with the largest grain of salt possible. But I just got into the hype, and the hype was that she controls the culture, and I expect people to buy Tesla when she says it's going to go to $4,500, and
Don't
they
talk
will.
bad about Cathie.
No, hey Zev, I was with it. I got hyped up. I was like, if she's going to say that, people are going to buy into it on day one. Now, I still think that people are going to buy into it and that she will have had a huge effect on the price of the stock. But with that said, I'm a day trader, right? Like I should have waited for the fucking momentum. I should have waited for the damn confirmation. Instead of giving away $5,000 to Elon and Cathie Wood's fandom, because I just wanted to see that price move. So that's it for me. I just got hyped. I said that I was looking at Tesla. There was this news sitting around in my head. I hopped into the trade first thing in the morning. I look around and it's down, and so I sold out. And it's no big deal to sell at a loss, to be honest. But yeah, I took an L yesterday, and I definitely didn't offset it with the wins that I made from Apple. So with that said, that is my trash ass trade. And how can I fix it? I will fix it by always trading to the plan. And honestly, for that one, I should have waited for the momentum. Every time Tesla breaks out, it's a stock that you can definitely like hop in and do some sort of scalpy movements and hit those price targets, but that's not what it was doing, right? It had already broken out. So it closed at 650 on Friday, it opened at 690 on Monday, went up to 694, and then kind of floated around 670 for the rest of the day. And I should have seen that. I mean, I saw that pre-market price action. I saw that, kind of pump into the day. And if you're close to one of these whole numbers like 700, you should expect some pretty decent resistance. And we definitely saw that where the height of yesterday was at 699. You do need volume to break through some of these larger key mental resistance numbers, and they happen around the tens, but very, very definitely around the hundreds. So yeah, once again, happens to the best of them. Who's next?
I am. I'll go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay, on Elaine's topic, every day Elaine sends me her gains, and yesterday I didn't get a text, and I was like, oh, you must be having a bad day because usually by 9:30 a.m. you've already made like a ton of money. So I knew she took the L, but my L was, I think the ticker is BQRS. I think it's a Bitcoin stock, and me saying think is part of the problem. I didn't even know. And then I bought it on its earnings day and it dropped. So I lost money on that and I was annoyed. But it was just me. Like, I think I made a lot of money that day. And then someone texted me something and I just bought it without looking, thinking, or anything. So I took L.
So what would you have done better? How can we improve, Vanessa?
One, I would have done some research. I would have paid more attention. And one, I don't play earnings, so I would have never. If I knew that it was earnings day, I would have never bought it. But most importantly, like, I just should have done some research before just buying something because someone said it.
Fair enough. No, I like it, and there's something that we can improve on, right? So that's what makes it okay. It's a learning opportunity. Who's next?
I am. I'm Christopher Scott, and I hate money. So there's a couple of things that I did. So while yes, Logitech is looking great, and guys know I always talk about taking that under 99, and it's now sitting at 106, and yes, that's doing wonderful. And also I did take my Tesla trade exactly the way I said it. Played it to 692, got out. So that went well. But what am I
Wow.
doing holding 15% of my account in a Bitcoin play through Janet Yellen and Jay Powell? And so Econ is down for me like 32%. And I am like, yeah, I just hate money. So as much as I made yesterday, like, guess what I did? Broke even. It was just really a horrible feeling, and now I'm ready to break up with my girlfriend. But now I'm just down too far, and it's like I want to average down, and then I always hear good friends don't let friends average down, especially when Janet Yellen's about to speak. Like, I'm just in a position, and I hate money, and that's my time.
Well, one last piece though, Christopher. How can you improve? What have we learned, and how are we going to do better next time?
I could have bought Chipotle. No, I just need to, take my gains when they're up, and not be holding on to the future. Like I have a problem with falling in love with stocks, and I know you see me post my gains, and sometimes when I hit, it's like 2, 3, 400%, right? Something ridiculous. But like when I hold too long, like that easily becomes negative 20%. Like it's it's a bad thing. And so I just need to take my gains when they're there. And Zev, I just want you to know that I cut Sundial.
Oh, thank God. Trash stock.
Good for you.
Rev, do you have a story to share with us? And we only have probably time for one or two more. So
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. My name's Andre. My name's Reverend, and I make trash trades sometimes. So, yesterday I'm getting more familiar with my options, and I know I'm not supposed to trade the S&P, but I did. I didn't buy myself enough time, so I bought it at like market 388 strike for 380 strike for expiry of March 24th, which is tomorrow, thinking that some of the volatility would affect the S&P overall. And I didn't buy myself enough time, seeing that the theta would have decreased my option by almost half in one day. So It got to that 7 or 3 and went up to 4.26%. And I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and set a limit. So I got back out of it when it leveled out like at 372. So I lost a little bit, but not too much. Um, but yeah, I just need to buy more time. And it's that's my trash trade. This is Reverend. I'm out.
Yeah, SPY trading SPY and these major indices is something that, like, I don't know. For me, I consider it like the highest level of like short term trading that you can do, because it's one thing already sort of to guess what's going to happen on any intraday level on a company, but just looking at the overall market, especially during times like this, we just have such volatility and so many different things going on at once. It's a hard one, man. And getting clear direction on that is a big deal. With that said, actually, I think we should kind of just keep on moving so we don't run out of time. So let's do a quick refresh.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first place every morning you should stop to get your stock market news. That's right, I'm talking about the morning show presented by Stockhouse University. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. This is a conversation amongst friends that love talking about stocks and want to improve our profitability by coming here every day, talking about the market, relevant news, and how we're going to use that information to be profitable. We think education should be accessible and affordable to everyone, so we have a free Discord that has tons of resources and over 1,800 amazing members at all different skill levels that are also talking about the market, and they're trying to grow as well. We also do free classes on Sundays, and we would love it if you would join that community and contribute, because together we are so much more powerful than we are individually. Invite your friends, invite your family. Let's all create opportunities for generational wealth. Also, if you like the conversations that we have here, make sure to click the greenhouse on the top and join the community. We'd love to continue the conversations, and we would love it if you guys would contribute every time we're on stage, not just in the Stockhouse U family. Thank you.
S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, where all the old money stashed at. Bet you ain't no Square on Cash App. Stock, name an asset that could
Ooh, you guys like that transition? I'm getting better over here. Anyways, Liv, you want to talk about SPY with us?
I would love to. So today, currently, SPY is sitting at 391, and about 40 to 80 cents is where I see it fluctuating at. I am pretty sure that this number would make sense. If we look at current events that's going on right now, I live in Florida. Pretty much where I live is being curfewed. We also have news like the AstraZeneca that today, for instance, they have news regarding that they're going to be getting new information on their trial. But when it comes to SPY, there's a lot of things that's affecting it. So bond yields aside, we're going to be having Powell speak about it today. And the level of 391 to me is pretty fair. I mean, we clearly had just recently touched all-time highs at 398. There's a good chance that we're just going to be doing a slight correction. So my prediction, if I had to say, if we're going to downtrend, I want to see us stay above 388 at least and go sideways from there in a channel of about 385 through 390. That would be safe. If we do have to drop to the downside, I would like us to stay at least above 380 itself. Like, I don't want to ever go down there ever again. If we do get the opportunity to go back to the upside as April's coming around, I would love to see us get a higher high of 396 and stay in that range as making that the new support. And that's it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so I'm looking at SPY, and just, our 20-day moving average is at 388, which is kind of, I think, the level that you were looking for. Our 50-day moving average is at 386, which also is kind of a fairly key level, although 387 was our last kind of pullback bounce. And then underneath that, our 100-day moving average sits at 372. And I could absolutely see, I mean, I feel like the 100-day moving average has been sort of this last bastion of support and historically it has been something that we've kind of relied on. So if we are going to take some sort of larger pullback, I think I'd sort of expect it to come back down a little bit further to that level. Not necessarily so worried. I still see us getting rejected. Like you said, we hit 398. Before that, we hit 396, and it's like we're going to continue to push up. But at the same time as we're pushing up, we're also hitting lower lows. So the story of increased volatility has just been continuing throughout the market, and we've been seeing that a lot in SPY. And I also don't see a reason why that's going to stop yet. With that said, we have been seeing a little bit less volume over the past few days. Although on average it is still higher than it was for the past few months. But we've kind of peaked in volume, and it seems as though we're downtrending and reverting back to the mean, which I don't know what that has to do with. Maybe retail investors getting a little bit tired, or if that has to do with trepidation in the market where larger institutions aren't taking as many trades, knowing that the volatility is up for now. But also that correlation between volume and price action is something I'm sort of looking at as well. Anybody else looking at SPY?
Uh, yeah, actually, with Liv's assessment, yeah, I concur. Um, Current levels right now, with it being at I have a 391.60. Yeah, I am looking for a bounce, potentially today, but again, I don't see it really sustaining itself long term. Um, so whether it's a week from now or maybe even just a few more days that we stay at these higher levels, I could see 396 being a peak threshold, um, and that's pretty much where I'm looking to possibly take action, uh, one way or the other, either um, expecting a breakout, or in this case, a future pullback. So yeah, so I 100% agree with everyone, um, in terms of the current levels right now.
Real quick, you want to talk volatility with me, AR? I feel like we've kind of reached a little bit of a support, and I'm wondering if, I mean, looking at the chart, I feel like now actually might be a day to be expecting a little bit of an increase in volatility.
Okay.
If we kind of follow the correlation that I've been seeing. But how do you feel about it, AR?
Um, I can see where you're coming from. That 1266 level on the VXX was that was the level I was expecting a break up, but there was actually a breach down, um, as of yesterday. So
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't surprise me. I really feel that 1266 peak, oh excuse me, that 1266 level is a support level long term, um, or at least for the on an interim term. So I want to see price maybe revisit that. Um, Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Usually hump day, a lot of the options tend to reset themselves. So yeah, let's see what happens going into this afternoon, and yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll see some action around that line.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be watching. And also I'll be streaming whatever Janet Yellen and Jay Powell have to say today, with extreme interest and intent, watching SPY and the yield curve as well while this happens. So real quick, I'll go through the sectors and then we'll get to our watch list. And I'll try to make this as simple as I can. Our industrial sector, which has been trending up recently, in the past 2 weeks has hit a peak and is looking like it's taking a little bit of a downturn. I'm not sure if it's going to go down or consolidate, but we definitely have hit an all-time high and been rejected. Yesterday we closed at 96.12, and today we're opening at 95.6. So a little bit of a downtick there. XLE, our energy sectors, and we talked about energy stocks earlier, closed yesterday at 48.54 and is sitting right now at 47.51. This is another sector that has hit a high and is downtrending fairly strongly, and it looks like we're trying to do a little bit of a reversion to the mean here. XLK, our tech sector ETF, closed yesterday at 131.87 and sits at 132.31. It's 132.21. And the story of tech actually having some resilience has been a major one. And the question is, are we going to be playing tech today and moving through the week for momentum, or are we going to revert more to the reopening trades or more to the cyclical trades? There have been three kind of major camps that I've been playing in. But tech right now is looking very strong. XLY, our consumer discretionary, has been trading inside of a range. We now sit in the middle of that range, and I'm expecting either a bounce off of the support or resistance. XLY closed at 167.28 and sits at 167.24 right now. So it's had very little movement between yesterday and today. XLP, our consumer staples, is also trading in the range, but it has been uptrending specifically. I think a lot of people are more bullish on the Costco's, the Targets, the Walmarts, as these are stores that have continued to grow and are not only expanding into the e-commerce side, but still have people who want to come inside. So they closed at 66.72, sitting right now at 66.54, a little bit of a downtick, but overall, this has been a really strong sector for the past week. XLC, our communications sector, including a lot of our telecom 5G plays, as well as like social media, Facebook, Twitter, all of that, closed yesterday at 75.91, sits at 75.92. The momentum in this sector over the past few weeks has been tremendous, and currently I would follow this. This has been breaking since November of last year. And if you're thinking about social media and the power and influx that they've had, I don't know why you would think that it would stop, although we could expect a little bit of a consolidation. XLBR material sector closed yesterday at 77.72 and sits at 77.41. This is another thing that has seen an all-time high very recently and has taken a rejection from that level. So we're looking to see where it will settle and then probably look to re-enter again, as materials are a huge part of batteries, a huge part of EV, huge part of infrastructure. I could go on, but I will not. XLF, our financial sector ETF, once again has been booming. But as we look at the SLR information and kind of just we're wondering what the banks are going to do. We don't have the rising bond yield situation right now, so we've seen a little bit of rejection and a pullback there as well. Closing yesterday at 33.63 and opening today at 33.45. And then last but not least, XLV, our healthcare sector, which I've been looking at, saying that it's formed a really strong support here, and I'm looking for the upside on this one. Closed yesterday at 115.67, sits at 115.66, not much change, but we have so many bio stocks and news in that category. And with that said, let's get to our watch list. Okay, let's see, who wants to start? Go ahead, Liv, you start. And also, tell us about your bot.
Right. So, I'll get started with my watch list. I'm looking at Shopify today because it is up, and I'm expecting a little market dip today in the afternoon. So, Shopify AMD. My entry for Shopify, I'm looking to get it around 1,153 because I know that that's the typical range. It looks like it's a little bit hovered right now. My exit is going to be about the price of 1,162. Now, if it goes up, I'm not going to be getting in. For AMD, I am looking at just seeing what the price is. If it goes under 79, I'm going to look for an entry, but I'm not too sure yet. And in terms of my bots, so we have a stock alert bot now, and basically I open the room at 4 a.m. and it joins in. What it does is it tells you a ticker that's moving in a criteria of a momentum stock. That way you'll be able to know, hey, this stock is moving, let me look at it. And in the Discord, I will be putting my entry and exit that I do for myself. Now, of course, for this first week, it's going to be freely accessible for anyone, but moving forward, because the Discord will be private and you have to pay for a subscription, it's not going to be accessible to everyone. So I just wanted everyone to get a feel for it and see how they like it. And moving forward, because I had several people with me today, and I can attest that everyone made money this morning. So yeah, on to you, Christopher.
Real quick, did anybody talk about Discord being bought out by Microsoft?
Right, I
No,
saw
we
that.
skipped kind of way past the news section straight to the watch list because of time.
Yeah, we did, but that was one of the things that I was going to bring up.
There's so much news to talk about today too, to be
So
honest.
much.
But
Yeah, I'm actually waiting. Okay, go
Sorry.
ahead.
All right,
So,
Christopher, get your spark notes off. Go ahead. What
yeah, I'm
in
looking at
30 seconds or
well,
less, what's your news?
so GameStop, for anybody watching those, the
Earnings today.
CCO left. Baidu shares down after they closed flat on their debut on Tuesday. Let's see. Oh, the one that I'm actually looking to play, Lockheed Martin, exploring and Omnispace exploring 5G global network in space. So that's pretty cool. Chipotle to accelerate expansion into Canada. So CMG to the moon. Yeah, those are just a couple of things that I'm looking at right now. But I was looking up for Lockheed Martin specifically for my watch list to pull back to I'm sorry, what did I have written down here? 356.94. I'll be looking to take a long position there. And along with Nokia because I do like the whole 5G space thing. So yeah, I want to be looking to take long positions there.
Love it.
And just to add to that, on our Instagram, Elaine posted a Tuesday briefing and it has the Catalyst earnings report. We're going to be in our schedule for today on there. So if you aren't already, go follow the Stockhouse U Instagram, which is in Elaine's bio, and like the picture because she spends way too much time on it. So just like it.
Okay. I'll go. And also like on the news side, the U.S. Looking at to redo the AstraZeneca trial updates after they realized that AstraZeneca gave them outdated information was a big one for me. Also, I don't know, people are taking out loans backed by NFTs. Zev, I know you would find that interesting since you have an amazing NFT collection. You could probably get a big loan from that. On the other side, we also have, let's see here. Oh, Jamie Dimon, JPM once again saying they might turn away institutional deposits, which is something that's fairly big. I think a lot of the bigger banks are looking at that after the SLR exemption got removed, which is going to happen at the end of March. De Blasio urges New York to follow New Jersey in pausing the reopenings, so that's another thing. And last but not least, the Citigroup CEO banned Friday Zoom calls, and it's just because work Zoom calls have been getting over the top. So with that said, let's move right into my stock picks for or what I'm looking at for today. And I guess they're both video streaming plays in some way or another. I definitely would like this Fubo entry. I'm sitting here. Let's see here. We closed yesterday at 31.53. We're sitting at 31.40. I would love to hold this 31 level, and my next leg up on that is 36. My stop loss would be at 29, 23, where I've kind of seen a little bit of support form. On the other side, MGNI, let's see here, Magnite. Yeah, sort of a similar story. We're actually kind of bouncing in a little bit of an uptrend right now, sitting at 51.66. Sorry, we're sitting at 52. We closed yesterday at 51.66. So I would love to see us hold support at this 51 level, not below 50, and then move towards the high. The all-time high of this is 64. So I'm just looking for 60 and maybe a little bit of a pullback, and I'd definitely take that play if we can form the support. So video streaming plays for me today. Fly, what are you looking at, man?
I'm sitting on my hands for the first 30 45 minutes. Once I do that, I'll put it in the Discord.
Yeah, this man posts essays in the Discord with charts and everything. It's beautiful to see. So thank you so much, Fly. We appreciate you, bro. No lie. Steven, good morning. What are you looking at for the day?
Yo, what's up, fam? I had my dog just kind of barking, so I assume he said Steven, so I'm gonna hop in. I'm looking at coping, bro, and it's hard to be coping with this shit because it's at its all-time high. We're trading in a bubble, but bro, I just feel like it's gonna go up. Apple's looking into VR, Facebook's looking into VR, and everybody needs coping for their VR little micro LEDs things. So I got like a call option that doesn't expire till October. It's a $12.50 strike price. The stock's at like 11, a little under $11 right now, and I'm gonna sell at like 100% gain. Cheers.
There you have it. Let's see. We can keep on going, but we're almost to the end of the day. Kareen, I know you're kind of. Oh, yep, she's busy. It's cool. Let's see.
I
Rev,
had
what are you
one.
looking at for the day? Yeah, go for
So
it.
I wanted to just look into Abby and see how it's doing. I got in yesterday at 102.23. and during the market open, just saw some movement before that happened. So yeah, just going to stick with that and see how that takes me.
What was the ticker again?
ABBV, AbbVie.
Ah, got it. Okay. Interesting. Ahmed, good morning, man. Welcome to the stage. Do you have anything you're looking at you want to talk about?
Hey, how are you guys? Uh, no, it's the same stock I've been looking at for a while. Thinking of buying a little more today. That's for PagerDuty. It hasn't broken out. They had earnings last week. They showed like three new categories of growth for them, and I'm just working through the numbers to see what that means for the company within the next 5 years.
No, we
That's
love
What was
to
the
hear
yeah.
that.
ticker?
What was that?
What was the ticker?
PagerDuty, PD.
Yeah, we love that. I feel like because we do this thing where we're analyzing a lot of stocks, is this constant push to look at new stocks and have something new and find something that's bubbling every single day. And the truth is, real investors sit with a stock and know the ins and outs of it and can play it both directions. And so there's nothing. I mean, not that there was anything wrong with it, but I support that, and I think that's a fantastic way to be going about the market today.
Thanks, Lynn. I just
Yeah.
want everybody to know none of my plays are like short-term plays. I can't tell you where this thing's going to move today or tomorrow or next week, but I could tell you that overall, it's a great company, and their competition is very low. I'm more of a buy it. I really believe in the story. Wait 3-5 years out, and hopefully have a 5 banger or a 10 banger.
Hey, a 5 banger or a 10 banger. AR, in 20 seconds or less, do you have something that you're looking at for today?
Actually, I'm going to be looking to hedge or take some profits actually from yesterday's moves, IMTE and Leaf. But I do see some continuation on both. So for IMTE, I mentioned yesterday, if you're able to pop in there around like 560, 570. I mean, really, it only it really just touched about that 6 level support, and it's opening up around 9. So yeah, those are my two NFT plays right now that I'm kind of playing around with.
I
I'm
expect
sorry.
to see you definitely in the crypto versus equity room, AR, and I want you on the crypto side too, since you think NFT play. I'm just kidding.
My bad, you guys. That was 102.93. I just looked at the price acquisition. Usually I can remember it pretty good, but it was 102.93 that I got in that.
Okay. We're all good. This is definitely not trading advice or how to trade. It's just
Right.
talking about where
Absolutely
you're
not.
coming from. So yeah, everybody should be doing their own DD. But it's just nice to hear what you guys are looking at and why. With that said, let's get into some affirmations, y'all. Gratitude. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the ability to trade. I'm grateful for this information in these communities that flows and gives us insight on things that I would have never known. I'm grateful for the connections that have been made in my regular life, on Clubhouse, and throughout this industry that once again have given me access to information I would have never had on my own. I'm so grateful for our community. And it grows, and the people that choose to come up here and share what's going on, share their trades, share their ideology. I'm grateful for the diversity. We all come from so many different places, and it's beautiful that we can have these conversations together. Love. I love this market. I love all of you who come here. And I love the ability, once again, to take place and to participate in this thing that has so much opportunity into it. Patience. I will wait for confirmation. I will trade to a plan. I will not have fear of missing out. I will exit my trades, either at my stop loss or at validation of the idea, I don't need to win. I'm patient. I don't need to get rich today. I will stay rich forever. Wow, my music ended. Anyways, as the market opens, I will continue to remain patient. I will not trade for the first 30 minutes. I will stick to my watch list. I will stick to my trading plan. I know what's important here. What's important is the ability to create generational wealth, not only for myself, but for the people around me that I love and care about. That's who I'm doing it for, and that's what I want in the future. With that said, thank you so much for coming, everybody. I hope you have a great green trading day. We will be streaming Jay Powell and Janet Yellen as they talk. Check out Liv's amazing stock bot that calls out stocks. That's something you're into. It does work. Go figure. And yeah, this is Stockhouse U, and we are out of here.
Also, Hoth is up if anybody is in that like I am.
Have a good day, everybody.